Boom, guys. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. Welcome to the Bold Effect podcast, guys. This is the podcast where every single Thursday I bring bold entrepreneurs to talk about their bold journey. But today, specifically, I want to talk about my journey. How did I get started? Recently, I get invited a lot to speak on events and talk about my journey. And the last one that I went to, which is here in Atlanta, one of the questions that the guy asked me is, how were you able to go from just Belgium and come here within 3 years, build a whole real estate portfolio with no experience whatsoever. And then once I was done speaking, one of the things that they told me, by the way, guys, give me a thumb up if you can hear me on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram as well, if you guys can hear me, okay? But one of the things he told me that he could relate to, the person that invited me to speak at that event is, some of the things that coming from Belgium to here, I don't take for granted. Over here, people take it for granted. A simple concept as the wholesaling concept, meaning here in the United States, you can go find an ugly house, put it under contract, and just sell this contract and make it $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $80,000, $100,000. There is no limit. The only limit is how good of a negotiator are you, and there's no limit, right? This is a foreign concept to me that in Europe, there's no way you're doing this. There's absolutely no way. Everything is private. Data is private. You cannot walk to a county and get somebody's property data. Like here, I can walk into any county and get a pre-foreclosure list that will tell me everybody in my neighborhood that is behind on their mortgages. So this concept alone was mind-blowing to me, and people don't understand when I say it because they take it for granted. They've been here their whole life. Just that concept alone, let's say you do nothing but wholesaling, just that concept alone should completely remove your excuses as to why you still may be struggling, as to why you're still working at a job that you hate, right? So today specifically what I want to talk about is my journey and also the sacrifices that I had to make personally to come here and do this, and still doing it. By the way, I'm still building, right? So right now, as of today, I had to count literally because I just went head down working. I literally have to count my portfolio and see how much it's worth. My portfolio, my buy and hold portfolio right now is worth $4 million plus dollars, right? And I started 3 years ago with absolutely zero experience in real estate. And by the way, this is a small portfolio, very small, right? At least compared to my goals, me personally, very, very small. I haven't even started yet, right? I've sold this year. I've sold some properties that I used to own because the market is a little bit iffy, transitioning into other things. Anyway, it's not to brag. This is nothing at all. But I know some people that haven't even started yet, and they just keep consuming content. They keep finding all the excuses as to why they can't, why aren't they, right? Guys, so I'm going to go through my journey. I hope my journey will be able to inspire, even if it's one person, to at least get out of the excuses mindset and start taking action. So for me, when I discovered real estate, I was in Belgium, guys. I was literally at my 9 to 5 in Belgium. I used to work for a corporate job, a railway company in Belgium. If you ever traveled in Europe and you took these high-speed trains, I used to work for them, right? So that's where I discovered this concept of real estate wholesaling here in the United States. What I decided to do is quit my job. I'm keeping a long story short, but quit my job within the next 6 months and come and prove the concept and see if it's real or it's fake, right? Long story short, I ended up quitting 3 months later. Didn't tell nobody. My friends in Belgium, didn't tell nobody that I was leaving. My friends, I have some friends right now still DMing me and be like, when did you leave? Like, where have you been, right? So what are the sacrifices? The first thing I want to start with is what are the sacrifices I had to make in order to come here and make this journey happen for me? The first sacrifice was family. Because where I'm from, if you have a good job, you're working for a government job, or you're, a manager at a company or whatever it is, all they care about is the titles, right? They want you to wake up in the morning, go to a job where maybe you're wearing a suit and tie, and everybody's so proud of you, even if you're miserable, right? So my family was the first obstacle I had to overcome. How do I explain to my family that, hey, I'm about to quit my corporate job where I have everything you can think of, insurance, whatever, right? Everything you can think of. I'm about to quit that for a concept that I found on YouTube, by the way. On YouTube. How do you explain that? On top of that, I'm a school dropout. So my family have watched me. I grew up in a refugee camp, right? I grew up away from my family from the age of 11 up to adulthood. I haven't seen my family. I used to speak to them, but I wasn't with them. So I grew up in a refugee camp in Belgium, right? So even my English, I learned my English is self-taught in the refugee camp. So they've watched me every year, every 2 years. I'm changing jobs. I've dropped out of school. So I created kind of this name of, the jack of all trades, the person that start things and don't finish it. So I kind of deserve the skepticism a little bit, but you also have the cultural side, which is you have a great job. You're working for the government. Are you crazy? Are you gonna put our family name into whatever? Okay. So that's the first thing is I had to sacrifice like some family was mad at me for quitting. Some family couldn't understand. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and prove the concept. And then once I prove the concept, because the reality is your family's job is really not to support you in the beginning when you come up with these crazy ideas, especially if by heart you are a true entrepreneur. Sometimes we're crazy, right? We're people that act on an impulsion, right? It's like, man, I have this idea, I'm jumping head first, and then I'll figure it out, right? You don't overthink it, right? So, but this is a hard concept sometimes to understand for family, but you also got to give them grace. Like, why should they believe you in the first place? So what I decided to do is, you know what, guys, I don't care. I'm going to do this. I don't need nobody to pay my rent. I don't need nobody to, like, my older brother has been here forever. Is like, hey, if I have to sleep in my car, I will do it. Now I decided to focus on proving the concept instead of focusing too much on getting the support because I have zero proof of concept. Why should they support me? I dropped out of school, always changing jobs. Every 2 years, I have a new job, right? So it's like, why should they believe me? I actually kind of deserve them not believing in me, right? So that's the first thing. I had to hurt some families' feelings and be like, you know what, F it, I'm just gonna do it regardless whether you support me or not. So that's the first thing. The other thing is I literally went through a divorce. Literally went through a divorce when my ex-wife was pregnant of my now daughter, who's 4 years old. She's with me right now. But I've spent, what, 3 years not seeing my daughter? 3 years. I only saw her 2 weeks. Do I regret making that sacrifice? I'll tell you guys right now. You can judge me if you want. I don't. I absolutely don't. It was necessary for me to step into my purpose. And I guarantee you that today, my daughter will be more grateful for me taking that decision that me sitting there, not having the financial freedom that I'm aspiring to have, not having any impact, not working on myself, not being able to provide if my daughter needed or my wife. Like, why would I do that to myself? So the sacrifice was necessary. That's another sacrifice I had to make, right? Which I'm grateful for. The other thing is friends. I had to let a lot of friends go. Why? Because most of my friends in Europe, none of them made over $60,000 a year, 60,000 euros a year. So what I decided to do, guys, literally, I remember I packed overnight. I packed, like, let's say I was leaving the next day for the US, I packed the night before. I even worked that day at my corporate job before leaving. I packed, didn't tell nobody, took a one-way flight ticket and completely left. And what I did is when I came here, I literally even changed my social media handles. Why? Because the old friends that I used to have, what kind of conversation did we used to have? We used to party from Monday to Sunday. And what are the conversation we used to have? Every time I would bring up ideas or businesses to start, one of them would shut it down. Oh, can you just shut up and enjoy the party? Can you just shut up and do this? So I had this burning fire in me to do something, but every time I bring it up, well, I'm hanging out with the wrong crew. That's it. It's not really their fault. It's my fault, right? So I had to come in here, change my social media handles, and create whole new friends that are making way more money than I am, and also are in this journey that I'm trying to get into. That's another sacrifice that I had to make. Was it lonely? Absolutely. Saturdays got lonely. But guess what? Had to get done. What ended up happening is I got so focused. I got so focused and I got so obsessed, right? That my family itself starts seeing a different, like they start seeing a different moment. It was like, oh, okay, this is not the moment that we're used to. He's locked in, doesn't party anymore, don't go out. Everything he talks about is real estate this, real estate that. Any event that he knows is happening, he's there. Even if he have to drive 7 hours, he's there, right? Started driving for dollars, invested in myself. Driving for dollars is how I got my first 3 deals, and which my first 3 deals was combined was $115,000, which where I used to work, I used to make less than 50,000 euros a year, which I mean for Europe, like for Belgium standards, it was a decent salary, guys. Just you might here in the US we have that thing. People's been brainwashed to get like the 6-figure job is the American dream, right? Which, by the way, until you make six figures, you don't know that six figures is not money. Just FYI. But in Europe is different, right? Because obviously it's a different social class, all that fun stuff. So I was making decent money. I could afford a Starbucks and not cry about it, basically. Okay. So that's another sacrifice that I had to make. So I had to get rid of my victim mentality, also understanding, you know what? Nobody owes me anything. Until I go and prove the concept, do my first deal and show up with the check. With the check. Why should anybody believe me anyway? So I had to just shut up, grind it out. What I did is I humbled myself, started doing Uber and Lyft. Why did I choose Uber and Lyft? Because it was easier for me. I'm not punching the clock at an office. I can shut down my application anytime I want, right? That's one. And then focus on my real estate. Second thing is, because it's my car, I don't care if I have a passenger. If a seller calls me on the phone, I will pick it up. The passenger cannot tell me to hang up my phone. I didn't care about the 5 stars. I absolutely didn't care. And I actually got my first 3 deals while I was driving Uber and Lyft. A lot of people in my culture made fun of me. Today, I guarantee you, those people, some of them are maybe their landlords, right? And some of them still living in the crappy apartments. I live right now in a home that is worth $500,000 that I bought with zero of my own money. Okay. So with that being said, what sacrifices are you willing to make, right? Because the sacrifices can be anything. Maybe it's sleep. You have a 9 to 5. After your 9 to 5, maybe, oh, my audio is not good. Aisha, can you guys let me know if you can hear me on Facebook, please? Give me a thumb up. Aisha is telling me my audio is not good. Let me know, guys. Let me know on YouTube as well. If you cannot hear me, because I'm using a mic. I hope the mic is working. Anyway, I was saying that what sacrifices are you willing to make, right? Sacrifices could be, oh, great. Sacrifices could be, for example, sleep. Let's say you have a 9 to 5 and you're trying to get into real estate. So after your 9 to 5, are you just going, oh, I'm too tired, right? I'm too tired. Let me just go watch Netflix. I deserved it because today I worked at my 9 to 5. If you're satisfied with your 9 to 5, that's a different story. But if you really every single day, you're like, you know what? You know that gut feeling? Like, I remember I used to go to the office and there's always this fire. And it was like, what am I doing here? Like, I deserve more. Like, what am I doing here? It's just that little voice, call it a gut feeling, whatever. I don't know what it is, but it's just there. If it's there, then you know you're meant for more. I believe in God, so I don't use the universe. So I think God, that's the little voice that God uses to show you, or your gut feelings, to show you that, hey, you deserve more. And he already put everything you need in you in order to go and do more. But like, you have to sacrifice something. Are you sacrificing sleep? Are you sacrificing location? Sometimes it's the location, literally. If where you live is not the right fit, you're just hanging out with bombs, or maybe just the location. Like, why? You're not tied to the zip code. This world is vast, right? So what are you willing to sacrifice? Because, and then also, are you taking, sometimes you gotta listen to other people that have a different perspective. Because if you have something since you were born, we tend to, as human beings, we tend to take it for granted. This is why I said, when I get invited right now to speak and I talk about these wholesaling concepts on how you cannot do it in Europe, when I came here, I didn't take that shit for granted. I was like, what? I can find an ugly house, negotiate it, and get paid just for negotiating a contract? It's poverty is done for me and my family forever. Forever. And this is just the start, right? That concept alone, let alone like going in, you can buy properties and people will give you their money. Yesterday, guys, it took me 30 minutes to raise $100,000 for 2 deals we're closing tomorrow. People handed me over their money to go buy a house that I just negotiated, and I will have zero money out of pocket. Like, what? What is your excuses? Right? So what sacrifices are you willing to make? Because I guarantee you, nobody's going to come in the morning and wake you up and say, make the calls. I guarantee you, nobody's going to go just find a house or find a business or just come and write you a check just because you look cute. It's not going to happen. And everybody have a story, by the way. Everybody have a struggle story growing up. Everybody have something that they've been through in their life that they could, if I look into my life right now, I can find 100 excuses as to why I shouldn't make the calls, as to why I shouldn't be in real estate right now, as to why I shouldn't be a serial entrepreneur. I grew up alone. My family wasn't there. Lost my mom at the age of 7, right? grew up in a refugee camp without parents, raised myself. Like I can have all the excuses in the world. I came here, have an accent, my English is broken, whatever. I can have so many excuses, but who cares? Nobody. Your bank account doesn't care. Anybody else listening to your story, unless you're telling your story because now you did something about it and you're having successful results. So you're just telling your story to inspire somebody. Nobody cares. Everybody have a story. Nobody cares, right? Get to work. The work works, right? There's also no shortcuts. There's none, but there is cheat codes, right? Like me investing in myself and getting into a mentorship, hiring a coach. That's a cheat code, but it's not a shortcut because I still have to make the calls. My mentor is not going to make the calls for me. I still have to make the calls. Does that make sense? So I had to learn how to be resourceful, right? Which I had zero sales background. When I first started, like zero sales background, guys, zero. So I had to learn what is granite countertops, what is the AC. But I had to learn all these lingos. It's just crazy, right? So what is your excuse nowadays, guys? It's so easy to where you have AIs. Like I tried it the other day. Chat GPT right now. If you have zero experience in real estate, you can go on Chat GPT right now and type in, write me a script on how to negotiate real estate deals with sellers, and it will literally write it for you. Literally write it for you. Literally. I think they even created AIs now that can negotiate for you through certain platforms. So what is the excuse you have? Here's the problem that I found here in the US. Even like when I was driving Uber and Lyft, this is one thing I loved. I used to interact with a lot of like people my age, people a little bit older, but typically people my age. Like people have so many excuses out here. You're just spoiled. That's it. You are absolutely just spoiled. You can wake up in the morning, go to a drive-through, buy your coffee, right? I'll tell you how I get. For example, I told you guys I grew up in a refugee camp, right? I used to be mad at my family a lot, like for real, because I have a big family. My dad had a lot of kids, and my dad is one of my heroes. Even though he wasn't physically in my life, that man was always in my life. He's my biggest inspiration in life, right? But I used to be mad, like, why am I alone? Why am I growing up alone? I have big brothers, I have a big family. Like, why am I alone in this camp, right? That's until, guys, years later. So I went to that refugee camp. I was 11 and I left at the age of 16, 17 years old that I left that refugee camp. But then like, I think I went back home to see my family back in Africa. I was like 23, maybe. I don't know. I forgot exactly, but over my 20s. And I remember at the camp, I used to complain, like, for example, we have, we all eat together in the morning, or sometimes we have lunch together. And then like, you just come and line up and they serve you the food. Is sort of, I don't even know what you would call that. But like the food, like some of this chicken used to be so hard. Like I used to think it's rotten chicken. You cannot cut it with a knife, literally, right? Some of this food used to taste so bad. So we used to complain, like all these kids there, we used to complain, like, man, this food is disgusting, blah, 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 blah. We always complaining. But guess what? I went to Africa for the first time over my 20s, and I saw kids. I saw little kids at the age of 5 walking miles and miles and miles just to get clean water to drink. Just to get clean water to drink. I was like, whoa, holy moly. I used to wake up, I have hot water, I can go shower. Somebody's cooking my food. Somebody's taking me to school. I got a backpack to go to school. I got school supplies. There's my godmother will come every weekend, take me out, go shopping. I can go to her house. She has a pool. What the fuck am I complaining about exactly? You see, but because I had it as a kid at the camp, I didn't appreciate it until I saw somebody else that barely had bread in the morning. A 5-year-old kid can get up in the morning and go grind, shoe shine for people just to get money to come and feed their family. And the mom will go out also to the market and whatever. But I'm just saying, like, sometimes this victim mentality, this self-entitlement is because you're too spoiled. You have everything you need. You have everything you need. You have government assistance. Your parents is maybe giving you, I don't know, whatever. You have a job that is paying, even if you hit the salary, but at least you have a job. Right? So are you taking for granted what you have? And so because of that, you always find excuses as to why you shouldn't be doing what you're supposed to be doing if you really have goals and ambitions in life. Because if you're not doing anything about it, if you're not taking action, then it's just wishes. It's just wishes, right? So with that being said, guys, the reason I was able to come here, get momentum, build a portfolio that is a very little portfolio. I'm still building, I'm still counting. I haven't even started yet. Like, real estate is just one thing I do. I consider myself a real estate a serial entrepreneur, right? It's because I've learned to not take anything for granted. Exactly, man. Joel just said something so powerful. Agreed. Faith with action and action with faith. 100%. I'm a reader, guys, and I'm a Muslim, but I do read both the Quran and the Bible. And I've studied back then. I used to do like comparative religion. And the other day, I read a really great passage in Matthew in the Bible. It's in Matthew 17:20. And Jesus is saying, I tell you that if you have faith, even as little as a seed of mustard, right? If you tell this mountain to move from here to here, so from A to B, if you truly have faith, the mountain will move. And I tell you, for you that have faith, nothing will be impossible for you. But faith without action is worthless. Faith without act, even bad credit. My portfolio, I built my whole portfolio with zero money and zero credit. None of my own money is in these deals, and I have never shown my credit to anybody. I don't even know what my credit score is. I'm sorry, I have no clue. I have no clue. So that's the least of your excuse is credit. Is it great to have credit? Yes. This is what I was saying earlier. People will literally over here will hand you their money to go buy properties. But obviously, you got to do something. My point here today is you cannot just sit and just feel sorry for yourself. You cannot just sit back and think somebody is going to come and motivate you. There's no such thing as motivating you. The only thing that people can do is inspire you. Motivating you, you're the only person. You're the only person that can motivate yourself. You have to be self-motivated. And by the way, guys, this is probably one of the greatest books that I've read recently. This is called The Molecule of More. This book have taught me a concept that we all kind of know, but we don't think about, is how your dopamine level in your brain is directly linked to your productivity, your lack of productivity, your drive, your ambitions. Like it's man, get this book, The Molecule of More by Daniel Z. Lieberman and whatever. Anyway, great book, man. You got to read it and reread it. But anyway, guys, I just wanted to come here today and see, I hope even if it's one person will get benefit out of this, get out of the excuses, start taking action. The action can be whatever. I tell you right now, you will never have enough information to take action. You will never know enough to take action. Imperfect action is everything. When I first started, I knew zero. You know what I started to do? Because I'm a monkey see, monkey do person. I said, you know what? They said on that YouTube, drive for dollars, find ugly houses, and then call and see if they're interested in selling. Guys, that's what I started doing. And what I would do is when I call a seller and they say, yes, I am interested, I will call somebody else that knows things better than me and put them on a three-way and help me talk to the seller. That's all I started doing. I did like I get so many people right now, they're like information junkie or motivational content junkie. You can listen to all the motivations you want all day long. The reality is getting on the phones, talking to either sellers or wholesalers or private lenders or like some. You got to talk to people. The money is on the phones, not on watching content. People become content junkies. You're just doing what we call mental masturbation. You got to put action into everything you want. Anyway, I hope somebody get value out of this, guys. Leave a comment below if you did, and let me know if you got any value out of it. Please share this if you know anybody else that can get value out of it. Every single Thursday, guys, I will start having guests here to come and talk about their bold their bold journeys. There's no credit because of age. So many people are willing to. Exactly. Yep. What's your health habits like at home life? Oh, this is a really good one. Joel is asking, before you go, what's your health habits like at home? What lifestyle changes did you make? Man, I had to make the first change I had to make is what I eat, because I found out that energy is everything during the day. So I stopped eating carbs during the day, because what happens is when I eat carbs, it makes me sleepy. give you brain fog, right? Like rice, all this, like it gives you brain fog. You cannot concentrate. You want to take a nap. Like you don't even know how you feel. So now I watch what I eat during the day. I don't eat carbs. That's the one thing I got rid of. I'm a coffee addict. I honestly think coffee is a miracle drug. So I drink black coffee though. I don't mix it with all these shitty milks and stuff. I'm a black coffee drinker. Another habit that I started doing, guys, is every single morning now I do is a must. So I deprive myself from coffee if I don't do at least 150 push-ups. Now this is me. So you gotta find a way to trick yourself because I was having a really hard time having energy all day. And soon as I changed my diet, completely changed. I didn't become a vegan, guys. I love me a steak. So I'm not a vegan, okay? But I'm just saying I don't eat carbs because the carbs makes you sleepy. So I don't touch it during the day. I don't mind eating it when I'm completely done being super productive. So those are the things that I applied to me, Joel, that changed things for me. So that's really working well for me right now. So guys, please share it. Hope you get a value out of it. Hope this at least inspired at least one person to start taking action. Guys, trust me, you don't need to know everything to get started. What you need to start doing is to start doing A, and then once you get stuck, go and find somebody that can give you the answer to get unstuck. That's what I would start doing. Get rid of the excuses. Nobody cares. No, your bank account is the first one that doesn't care about your excuses. Absolutely doesn't care. Okay. So thank you, Sophia. See you, girl. Thank you. Thank you. I was actually thinking about texting you today. Thank you. I appreciate you. Um, Thank you so much, Joel. I appreciate it, guys. Please share it. Leave a thumb up. Please leave a comment on my YouTube. If you liked it, just leave I liked. Don't be greedy with the algorithm, please. Okay. And I'll see you guys next Thursday. Until then, stay bold and be bold, guys. See ya.